It's totally gonna be summer. What?
Just Sheldon's onion ring. Just put it back.
It's one onion ring.
Put it back before he comes. No, I don't think that's where it was. Okay, here he comes. Then people, wall of silence.
You know I don't drink.
Not even strawberry quick?
I love strawberry quick. That's my favorite pink fluid. Narrowly beating out Pepto-Bismol.
Oh, I know.
Actor Wil Wheaton, best known for his roles in Stand By Me and Star Trek: The Next Generation, initially hesitated to take on his now iconic cameo as a fictionalized, villainous version of himself in The Big Bang Theory. Encouraged by a friend, he joined the hit CBS sitcom, where his role grew from a single cameo into a recurring part spanning 9 seasons and 17 episodes. While Wheaton initially worried about being creatively limited by the role, he embraced the character, learning to separate his real-life persona from his on-screen counterpart. Fans appreciated the comedic rivalry between Wheaton and Sheldon Cooper, portrayed by Jim Parsons, which remained lighthearted and playful. Over time, Wheaton became a beloved part of the show's geeky charm, connecting with a new generation of fans and creating memorable moments, including a Dungeons & Dragons session with William Shatner. A Star Trek actor almost turned down their Big Bang Theory cameo. Actor Wil Wheaton has had a fairly unusual career, rocketing to fame at an early age, first in the film Stand By Me. His star only rose when he starred as Wesley Crusher on Star Trek: The Next Generation, though he felt sabotaged by a Star Trek producer who stopped him from chasing additional film roles. When Next Gen ended, Wheaton was regularly in voice acting and small television roles before becoming a part of the pop culture conversation once more, but this time as a fictionalized version of himself on the hit CBS sitcom The Big Bang Theory. In the series, which follows a group of geeky friends as they try to navigate adulthood while still partially firmly planted in adolescence, Wheaton plays an evil version of his real-life self and the arch-nemesis of the show's primary protagonist, Sheldon Cooper, Jim Parsons. What started as a small cameo turned into an ongoing bit that lasted over 9 seasons and 17 episodes, expanding beyond just the series itself and becoming a small pop culture moment all of its own. Seriously, I was not a Big Bang devotee, and even I was aware of the "we oughtn't" moment in the Wheaton recurrence. Actor Wil Wheaton has had a fairly unusual career, rocketing to fame at an early age, first in the film Stand By Me. His star only rose when he starred as Wesley Crusher on Star Trek: The Next Generation, though he felt sabotaged by a Star Trek producer who stopped him from chasing additional film roles. When Next Gen ended, Wheaton was regularly in voice acting and small television roles before becoming a part of the pop culture conversation once more, but this time as a fictionalized version of himself on the hit CBS sitcom The Big Bang Theory. In the series, which follows a group of geeky friends as they try to navigate adulthood while still partially firmly planted in adolescence, Wheaton plays an evil version of his real-life self and the arch-nemesis of the show's primary protagonist, Sheldon Cooper, Jim Parsons. What started as a small cameo turned into an ongoing bit that lasted over 9 seasons and 17 episodes, expanding beyond just the series itself and becoming a small pop culture moment all of its own. Seriously, I was not a Big Bang devotee, and even I was aware of the "we oughtn't" moment in the Wheaton recurrence. In an interview with The Spectrum, Wheaton revealed that he almost didn't take the cameo role in the first place and that he had to get a little bit of convincing from a talented friend. It's a good thing, too, because it's given Wheaton a chance to connect with a whole new generation of nerdy fans. Wheaton worried that his Big Bang Theory cameo might limit his options. Wheaton's Wesley Crusher had plenty of detractors, and his teenage confidence was a bit unnerving to one of his most esteemed co-stars, but he was also just a kid playing a role, and the hate that followed him from parts of the fandom was probably a little rough. So the idea of playing a version of himself that leaned into how some fans probably thought of him might have been cathartic, but when pitched to him by Big Bang co-creator Bill Prady, Wheaton was nervous that he would feel creatively limited in a recurring cameo where he was playing himself. He called up his friend John Rogers, who created the TNT drama Leverage, and Rogers gave him some strong advice. He said, "Are you insane? It's the best show on television. Call Bill Prady back right now and tell him, yes, or we're not friends anymore." Of course I did, and still feel silly that I had to think about it. The Big Bang Theory is one of the most popular sitcoms of all time and has even spawned several spin-offs, including the popular Young Sheldon prequel series that only just ended in 2024. It's not likely that Wheaton will be called back to Cameo in any of the spin-offs, but even just his signing on for the original show turned out to be a pretty big deal, even if it was a little tricky to wrap his head around at first. The Big Bang fandom was friendly despite Wheaton's villain status. Wheaton went on to explain that it was a bit difficult initially to separate himself from the fictionalized Will Wheaton, and he said that it probably took 5 years before he had totally separated the identities and really understood the role, but he had fun with it and learned to approach him just like any other character he played. While Wheaton was initially written in as a villain and rival to Sheldon, the actor says Sheldon's fierce fans actually embraced him. It may be the only role in my career where the feedback has been universally positive. In the early years when Sheldon and I were rivals, Jim and I worked really hard to base that relationship in a reality where each character could justify his actions. Fans appreciated that it was never a cruel relationship, but always meant to be silly. Will was just amused that Sheldon could get so easily riled. It was like I was giving Sheldon the materials to build a trap, then watching him build it and falling into it. Wheaton's role grew over the years and eventually, he even got to run a Dungeons & Dragons game that included a fictionalized version of William Shatner, played by the Priceline negotiator himself. Could Wheaton have imagined when he was a preteen on the set of The Next Generation that one day he would be hanging out with Captain Kirk himself, but it would be on a sitcom and they would be playing themselves? Unless he had one of those future-seeing Badron orbs, it's unlikely, but thank goodness he agreed to the Big Bang Theory anyway. Kirk is infamous for offing overzealous computers, see Landru in Return of the Archons, Nomad in The Changeling, and the androids of Mud, but his personal best computer kill is in The Ultimate Computer. Here, he doesn't merely melt down the M5 Multitronic unit by confronting its flawed logic regarding its purpose, he aims a precise surgical strike at the chinky spots in its programming armor, appealing to the morality inherent in the memory engrams its all-too-human creator imprinted it with, causing it to reason it must die to pay for the sin of murder. All this drama is supported by some fine action, as M5 reduces a redshirt to a puff of smoke, Photon torpedoes a robot ship, and then nearly destroys 4 sister ships of the Enterprise, actually killing the entire crew of one. Even the light ending, which often play as callous given the events which precede them in many episodes, is acceptable here because it's about Spock and McCoy, not Kirk. But it's still Kirk versus the computer, and those are never Star Trek at the ver.